Hi everyone, Eric Com here with ESI Group's industry marketing team, and today what I'd like to do is perform some more of the demonstration that we featured during our ESI Live Focus on Heavy Machinery event in the early parts of 2021. What I'd like to do at this moment is validate some of the assembly and service processes that might be required for this wheel loader that we see behind us, and the service and maintenance or the assembly of that internal combustion engine that's inside of it. So one of the things I want to focus on here first is the workstation planning or work cell planning for this assembly or service operation. And we're going to focus first on the installation of these filter elements. I have some filter elements in these two different logistics racks that are distributed in front of me. And what I want to do is I want to just validate, is this a practical and reasonable assembly process that we're validating today? So let's start off first with the use of these logistics racks. One of the first things that we'll focus on is that I am standing on ground level. This is 100% true to life scale. And what I want to do is I want to reach down and see if I can easily reach the shipping rack, into the shipping container, and pull out these filter elements. So I can reach down and I can grab this filter element. This one was nice and convenient, placed up high where I could easily reach it. But if we take a closer look at what it takes to reach down some of these deeper filter elements that are all the way down at the bottom of that rack, and when I do so, you probably see that my torso, which is just always a plumb line between my head and where my feet location would be. And as I reach in, you can see that my torso is coming into the shipping rack itself. Now, just as a reference, I'm going to put my hand right about where that shipping rack elevation would be, so it's right around my navel. And if I can bend over without having to kind of collapse around my belly button, around my navel, I can reach down to the bottom of that rack, which in fact, I can't really reach into that rack without intersecting this shipping container. So that's one issue that I see already, that average people of average height, I'm about 5'6", which is just a little bit below the 50th percentile for North America, and I can't easily reach into that rack. So now we have a service or assembly process that cannot be performed by people of just below average height. And that means that this is not a very sustainable manufacturing or service operation. So I'm just going to grab that filter element, and I'm just going to pop up to the top step of this work stair here, and I want to see if I can easily install this into the required location. Now, as I move the filter closer to its planned location, you can see that gray box there. That's a highlight that was put there by the engineers who were preparing the data for this session. And that allows me to see where I need to actually install this. That's a very simple to code or program element inside of our VR demo. And one of the things that you can see is as soon as I take this filter element and I bump into this hose or this cable, whatever that is, I'm actually causing interference between the filter and that flexible hose itself. And what I'm able to do is I'm able to validate, can I get around those hoses in order to install that filter element? And that looks pretty reasonable. That's not so bad. So let's go ahead and teleport down. Let's grab one of these other filter elements. This one I'm going to try to reach down into. I've got something physical in my office that's blocking me from reaching all the way down into there, but there we go. And again, I'm going to just teleport up to this location. And now I can see where this second filter element goes. Again, I have to try to navigate around the rigid and flexible elements of these hoses and other parts of the engine and install that. And you can see that that installed fairly easy. So I feel that at least the assembly process of putting that filter into its final location is something that's very valid as far as a workable, feasible process. I am a little bit concerned about those shipping racks. Maybe I have to come up with a new design for shipping these filters in and out of this location. And that would be one of my concerns. And we validated that using this engineering data directly imported from CAD into a VR working environment of ICI did. All right, next thing I'm going to do is, let's see, we can see that there is another part of this assembly, which is this last cable or hose that goes to the bottom of that filter element. So again, being mindful of my workspace, here is the elevation that I have to reach around and get through. That's not so difficult to reach. I can grab that little hose, clip that into location, and it does look like that does in fact install fairly easily. So this is a valid assembly process that could be somehow maybe optimized if I reconsider how I want to lay out the logistics containers for shipping all of these filters to the assembly site. That should do it for today, and thank you very much for joining us.